What if you built a billion-dollar company from scratch, only to be fired from it? And what if you followed a certain diet to get healthier, but it ended up leading to death? I'm Steve Jobs, and most people know me as the co-founder of Apple. I was born in San Francisco, California, and adopted by Clara and Paul Jobs shortly after birth. Growing up, I always knew I was adopted, and I felt special in a good way. Being adopted made me feel unique, like I was chosen for something greater. Paul and Clara made sure I understood that I wasn't given up. I was chosen. Their unconditional love and belief in my potential meant I never felt like I was missing out on anything. As I got older, I started wondering about my biological parents. I learned that my mother, Joanne Schiebel, was a young college student, and my father, Abdel Fattah Jandali, was a Syrian immigrant. Their situation was complicated. In the 1950s, there were strong prejudices.
Prejudices are unfair opinions or judgments about someone, often made without facts. During this time, after World War II and in the Cold War era, people were suspicious of outsiders, fearing they might threaten national security or take jobs.
In the 1950s, there were strong prejudices against immigrants, especially those from the Middle East. People often saw them as different or incompatible with American values. Joanne's father disapproved of their relationship, fearing societal backlash and shame. They weren't married, and under immense pressure, Joanne made the difficult decision to give me up. Joanne wanted me, adopted by college-educated parents. But Paul and Clara, though not highly educated, promised to send me to college, and they kept that promise. I respected their promise. So after high school, I attended college. Ironically, I dropped out after just 6 months, realizing that formal education wasn't the right path for me. My adoptive father, Paul, wasn't a rich man. He was a machinist. But he taught me the value of hard work and how to build things with my hands. I loved spending time with him in the garage, tinkering with electronics and figuring out how things worked. That hands-on learning sparked my passion for technology, which later became the foundation for my life's work. At 21, was my longtime friend, and I started Apple in my parents' garage with a big dream. At the time, computers were huge, complicated machines only big companies could afford. But we believed technology should be for everyone, not just experts. Our goal was to make computers easy to use and affordable, so everyday people could learn, create, and work. Woz was the genius who could build them, and I had the vision for how to sell them and what they should look like. The first Apple computer, the Apple I, was a success. By the time I was 25, I was a millionaire. But not everyone at Apple shared my vision. I was young, stubborn, and sometimes hard to work with. I wanted things done my way. However, some at Apple felt differently.
We can't grow Apple if we're constantly trying to manage Steve's inflated ego.
Inflated means something that is blown up or made bigger than normal, like a balloon filled with air or big bubbles. Inflated ego refers to someone's sense of self-importance or confidence being much larger than necessary. The word ego refers to a person's view of themselves, especially how important or superior they think they are. So this phrase means someone thinks too highly of themselves, often acting like they are better or more important than others. In this case, people at Apple said, Steve Jobs had an inflated ego because they thought he was overly confident in his ideas, or didn't listen to others, making it harder for the company to work together as a team.
We can't grow Apple if we're constantly trying to manage Steve's inflated ego,
They said.
Apple can't thrive under Steve's constant micromanagement.
As tensions grew, my leadership came under fire. In 1985, at 30 years old, the Apple Board of Directors fired me. The company had grown so large that there were many stakeholders, and the board didn't always agree with my decisions. They saw me as difficult, and after internal conflicts, they decided to remove me. Being away from Apple felt like losing a piece of myself. Apple wasn't just a company. It was my creation, my identity, and my passion. Getting fired left me feeling rejected and deeply lost, questioning my purpose. Starting over was humbling. I went from being a celebrated visionary to struggling with self-doubt, frustration, and loneliness. But those painful years reshaped me, taught me resilience, and prepared me for a comeback I didn't yet see coming. Returning to Apple 12 years later felt like coming home. The company was close to bankruptcy, but I knew we could turn it around. This time, I approached things differently. I focused on simplicity, trusted my team more, and embraced collaboration. Instead of trying to control everything, I streamlined the company, focusing only on what truly mattered. With this renewed focus, Apple transformed into a global leader in technology. But life had its own plans. And just as Apple soared, I faced my greatest personal challenge. At 49, I was diagnosed with a rare form of pancreatic cancer. I initially believed in alternative medicine.
The word alternative means a different option or choice. Alternative medicine is a type of medical treatment that is different from what medical doctors, like family doctors or specialists, usually recommend. Instead of using standard treatments like surgery, pills, or therapies, based on science, people who use alternative medicine may try things like herbal remedies, acupuncture, special diets, or natural oils. Some people believe these methods help the body heal naturally. However, alternative medicine doesn't always have strong scientific evidence to prove it works, as well as standard medical treatments. And that's why it's often called an alternative.
At 49, I was diagnosed with a rare form of pancreatic cancer. I initially believed in alternative medicine and delayed conventional treatments. Something I regret. By the time I fully embraced medical treatments, it was too late. Despite my health declining, over the years, I continued working. My time may have been cut short, but I take comfort in knowing I left behind more than products. I left behind a way of thinking, a way of daring to dream. Remember, the greatest journeys start with a single step into the unknown. So, don't let fear stop you. Go forward. Take risks and leave the world better than you found it. That's how you create something truly extraordinary.